Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Sunday's edition of the dceu Daily. So, a picture has surfaced of Batman's double from James Gunn's Peacemaker season finale. Now, a bit of catch up here. We saw a Justice League cameo at the end of the Peacemaker season finale. We saw Peacemaker carrying Amelia Harcourt. The Justice League arrived. You saw Wonder Woman and Superman. You saw Ezra Miller's The Flash close up, and Jason Momoa's Aquaman close up. It's now come out from a body double who was going to play Ben Affleck's Batman that he was also in that footage too, but he was scrubbed out. He has turned around and said, and we'll read the article in a moment, that he doesn't know why he was scrubbed out. He says that's down to James Gunn and Warner Brothers to explain that to us. Now, James Gunn isn't talking, but he has explained why Cyborg and Batman weren't there. He said it's because of future stuff. He says it's about stuff he can't discuss. Now, me personally, I'm very grateful to James Gunn. Imagine being James Gunn and doing something as pure as putting in a Justice League cameo, a close-up of The Flash and Aquaman and Superman and Wonder Woman in the background as well. This is very exciting if you're a Henry Cavill Superman fan, because think about it this way. They scrubbed out Batman and Cyborg, but not Cavill's Superman. Take a think about that. That means Cavill's Superman is still canon within the DC Extended Universe. So this revelation doesn't surprise me. I'll tell you something exclusively right here and right now. I know this. I knew that Batman was supposed to be in it, but wasn't in it. They changed their minds. What's going on here? Right, let's be honest, because this Batman double says, I can now talk about it. Really? Your NDA has expired? Not even a week after the finale posted on HBO Max? It's clear what's going on here. The studio are doing this on purpose. They told the Batman double to come out publicly and expose that he was supposed to be in the finale. They're doing it to cause intrigue and conversations about the future of the DCEU and what may and may not happen in the Flash movie. It's clear this thing has been purposely done. Anyway, let's read the article from the Direct. New photos reveal Ben Affleck's Batman deleted cameo in Peacemaker. Throughout Peacemaker's first season, the DC series included a plethora of jokes directed at members of the Justice League. The John Cena-led spin-off didn't shy away from hilarious jokes about the likes of Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash and Batman during a good chunk of its episodes, thus fueling discussion from fans online. All done on purpose. From Aquaman fornicating with a fish to playfully mocking Batman's no-kill rule, Peacemaker went all in to poke fun at DC's well-established heroes. Despite the Justice League jokes, many felt the series still featured a strong story and powerful character arcs for its star-studded ensemble, thus ultimately leading to the show being renewed for a second season on HBO Max. It's been a great success. The finale doubled the premiere viewers and numbers and ratings. It's a huge success. So much for those boycotts. The Justice League mockery eventually paid off due to a major moment from the finale when the actual superhero team appeared at the last minute. Now, after a record-breaking season ender on HBO Max, it appears that a major cameo has been scrapped from the episode. So where are we? Batman almost appeared in Peacemaker's finale. Actor stunt double Matt Turner posted several new behind-the-scenes photos on Instagram wearing Ben Affleck's Batman costume to celebrate Peacemaker's Season 1 finale, indicating that the Dark Knight was supposed to appear during the Justice League's cameo in the episode. Now, people keep on saying that Cyborg was supposed to be there as well, but we have not seen any posts on Instagram or anywhere else of the Cyborg body double. That's interesting. Now, I made a point that the Doom Patrol Cyborg would have fitted James' tone a lot better. So you could have brought him in there. But listen, I'm so happy with what James did anyway. There's no reason to be unhappy here. We're getting 3 versions of Batman this year. How many more times do you want to see The Dark Knight? So here's the picture. This is the guy. So Turner posted this. He looks great. He looks like Ben Affleck. A little bit later on, I'll show you the Henry Cavill body double, who looks even better than that. Turner confirmed that his appearance as Batman alongside a Cyborg stunt double was cut from the final edit of the episode, while also teasing that Peacemaker director James Gunn and Warner Brothers are the only ones who know the reason why. After that epic Peacemaker finale, I can finally post this. Sadly, I and Cyborg, he said it about Cyborg, interesting, were cut from the final edit. Why? Only James Gunn and Warner Brothers know that while it's disappointing to be scrubbed out, this was still a blast and a dream come true to wear the suit. Big thanks to everyone involved. Right. Do you really believe that this guy has posted this without any permission from the studio or Gunn? Why is Gunn not talking about this? People are tagging him. He responds all the time, but he's not responding to this. Of course, in an interview with Deadline, or Variety should I say, he was very clear that there's a reason why those two weren't in it. It's about future stuff, he said, and stuff he can't talk about. But if you really think that this lad came on without anyone's permission, and you think his, non-disclosure agreement has run out very quickly, and he said, oh, finally, I can post this. The studio told him to do this, to create a fury of conversation. It's obvious. There's no scoop here, really. It's interesting. But, think about this as well. Why would you dress him up and Cyborg up, put him in, then edit him out? If you didn't want them there, you wouldn't put them in the first place, right? So they clearly done this on purpose for PR and conversations on social media. It's a very smart move. The DCEU's multiverse plan for Batman, Matt Turner's social media post indicates that Batman's scrapped appearance was a last-minute decision. Yeah, why would you make that last-minute decision in the first place? You just wouldn't have them there. Doesn't make sense, does it? Potentially tying into the studio's multiverse plans for the character in The Flash. The Ezra Miller-led solo film is set to feature 2 versions of Batman, namely Ben Affleck's grizzled veteran from the main DCEU and Michael Keaton's Dark Knight from his own universe. It's highly likely that The Flash's ending could erase Affleck's iteration from the mainline DCEU. They want you to think this because it causes uproar and conversation. I believe that Ben Affleck's Batman will not be deleted, but he will vanish, and he will appear in the future in cameos. And, you will see him fleetingly. I still think, even though Keaton's in Batgirl, that actually Batfleck will be seen in Batgirl. I could be wrong about that. So, seeing Affleck's Batman in Peacemaker's finale could lead to confusion, thus leading to the scrapped appearances. Listen, these people think about what they do. They dress them up. They shot them. Why would they do it and then change their minds? They're doing it on purpose. It's a very good idea, and that's how I see it. Peacemaker executive producer, writer, director James Gunn admitted that there are reasons for the character's absence, but he did point out that it's uncertain if he can reveal it. Gunn's comments also solidifies that the series is still set in the wider DCEU, meaning that the ramifications that will happen in The Flash could affect the events that will transpire during Peacemaker's second season. So maybe that's why they weren't there in the end. I don't know. I still think the studio did this on purpose for PR. As for Cyborg, it seems that plans for the character are still in flux, especially after Ray Fisher's behind-the-scenes debacle with Warner Brothers. At this stage, the plan behind Batman is still unclear, but eventually all will be revealed during The Flash. So, it's very interesting, isn't it? It's an interesting revelation. I knew about this revelation a couple of days before all of you did. What did I think? I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. But then I kind of thought about this. Let me just clear my throat, excuse me. And then I thought, hang on a minute here. Why would you dress them up and then decide not to put them in. It doesn't make any sense, does it? Unless they're doing it all on purpose to cause a conversation for the audience to ask questions. And the question is here, why did they do this? Why put them in and then not have them in? I don't believe they ever had any intention of putting Cyborg and Batman there. But I think they have created this situation on purpose, that they got this Batman guy, this stunt double, to post this and say this on purpose to create a conversation on social media. So what do I think that Cyborg's future is within the DCEU? I think unless Zaslav changes the situation with Ray Fisher and he gets apologies, he ain't coming back. So basically, I expect them to pluck up another version of Cyborg from the multiverse. He's there now. He could disappear, but it would be a shame not to bring another version in. That's what I think they're going with that. In terms of Affleck, he will vanish at the end of Flashpoint, I think, but he will be out there somewhere, and eventually I think it will be a situation within the narrative that Ezra Miller's Barry Allen, aka The Flash, goes on a hunt, a multiversal hunt, to look for this version of Batman, and eventually he will find him, leading to Affleck having cameos and kind of Easter eggs about that character in the future. That's the way I think we're going with this. So please comment down below and let me know what you think. I'm okay with this. Look, they were always going to clean up this franchise. Decisions were going to be made. But at this point, we certainly don't know enough to get our knickers in a twist. So Gal Gadot posted this on Twitter, and probably she has an Instagram on that. So this is interesting. This is what she says. So much drama with a fire and cool dude sunglasses emoji. So we look at this, and this is what she's looking at. Now, I don't know what this is about. I'll be honest, I don't know where this is from. So let's close this in. Now, if someone could tell me where this is from. Now, is this from the Peacemaker? I don't know what's going on here at all. What she's hinting at. She's clearly hinting at something. Wonder Woman screaming, so much drama. What's going on? What is she talking about? Because Gal is not the type to post, multiple opinions and hot takes on social media. So that's very interesting. Is this from Wonder Woman 84? I have no idea. Is that from Shazam, Fury of the Gods? I have no idea. Comment down below and let me know, because I'm utterly confused. Snyder fans furious about the Peacemaker finale's big DCEU cameos. Snyder fans furious? That's a new one. They never get furious, do they? Can we have nothing uncontroversial in the DC Comics space? Well, here's the thing. It's not DC Comics and DC Live Action, the people behind it, making it controversial. It's the people on social media who get offended and angry about everything. Until Zack Snyder is back making every single movie and show for Warner Brothers, it appears not. Yesterday marked the finale of Peacemaker, the well-received Suicide Squad spin-off starring John Cena, from Squad director James Gunn, and with it came some big DCEU cameos that most people loved and some hated. One running joke in Peacemaker is that he reads a bunch of internet rumours about various members of the Justice League and keeps relaying them to his team. One of those jokes includes a running gag that Aquaman has sexual encounters with fish. In the finale, the Justice League shows up to save the minutes after Peacemaker and his team have already eliminated the threat. They're not welcomed as heroes, but as being late. The cameo shows Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash and Aquaman, but Superman and Wonder Woman are in the shadow. We don't see them and are played by stand-ins, but Flash and Aquaman are their actual actors, played by Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa, though they weren't actually filmed on set. It's actually a pretty interesting tale about how this came together, and namely that Ezra Miller's cameo was actually shot by Marvel on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. No, it's not interesting, it's actually irrelevant. I know people are trying to make more of that, but I'm sorry to disappoint you. They did James a favour, end of story. and Warner Brothers did them a favour, which Gunn has moved on to start filming by them. And Gunn was worried about what Momoa or Aquaman director James Wan might think about the running fish joke and the payoff here, but Momoa was fully on board and all about it. However, fans of Zack Snyder's Justice League, they're mad. Why? A few reasons. The entire season, Snyder devotees have been upset with how Peacemaker disrespects Snyder's Justice League with all these put-downs. And I've seen that they're not put-downs, they're jokes. And I've seen a new narrative among this crowd start to form that James Gunn is the new Joss Whedon. They will say anything. They will say anything to, forward their propaganda. It's ridiculous. It just makes me laugh. And, I can even defend Joss Whedon on a lot of things. He was under the gun. He was in a rush. It was a mess. It should never have happened, but no director, even their beloved Zack Snyder, couldn't have put anything out under those circumstances. At DC, with his use of humour to change the tone of the DCEU. We've heard this a little bit when Suicide Squad was getting glowing reviews, but it's really amped up for Peacemaker here. They're not changing the DCEU into the MCU. James Gunn does things a certain way, and there's humour in his content, and that's the end of the story. You can have a humorous version of Justice League members in his world, and then when they go back to their own worlds, they can be like they've always been. It's not rocket science. You just have to be a little bit intelligent, right? Unfortunately, many members of the Snyderverse community are not intelligent. And that's not all. They're also mad about this cameo specifically because Cavill's Superman doesn't show his face. Well, listen, they had to say something. They would have been very, very worried about their propaganda being invisible once Cavill is there in that cameo. That's Cavill's Superman. It's a stunt double, right? We know that. That is a stunt double. But at the end of the day, he's there. It confirms he's still canon in the DC Extended Universe, right? It should be a moment of celebration. It's pretty obvious that a streaming show like Peacemaker can't afford Cavill and Gadot, who are on big wages at WB, for playing these roles. It was never going to happen. But by having Cavill's Superman there, even as a body double, is very good news. But they don't like good news because then they can't push their propaganda. That's the point. So they're always going to be negative even when things are great. Even when their man's Snyderverse is restored, they're still going to come out with these propaganda bombs. It's never going to end. Which also happened with his Shazam cameo. And that Ben Affleck Batman and Ray Fisher Cyborg aren't there at all. Snyder fans have been terrified that upcoming films like Batgirl and The Flash plan to retcon Affleck's Batman out of the DCEU altogether. And Ray Fisher has had a very public dispute with WB over his treatment, mainly at the hands of Joss Whedon and Jeff Johns during Justice League, and he's essentially been banished from the DCEU. No, Ray Fisher banished himself. On Twitter, he quit. He said, "I'd never work under any project produced by Walter Hamada." He said that. I'm not making that up. He quit. He wasn't abandoned. He wasn't told to go away. It's him. He did it to himself. So he hasn't been banished, but will be starring in a new non-DC film from Zack Snyder. Of course, none of this should fall on Gunn, who likely had absolutely nothing to do with the conscious decision to not get Cavill to film a cameo. Henry Cavill is filming Enola Holmes Season 2, from what I know. He's a very busy man, I know that. So there was no way he could come because of scheduling. Gal Gadot is very expensive, and the scheduling for the shoot would have been very, very tight. They were able to get Momoa, they were able to get Ezra. Well done on that. This is a TV show. This is a streaming show. There's nothing toxic about this. This is good news that Cavill's Superman is there. It may not be Cavill, but it's Cavill's Superman. There's nothing to be negative about, which I'm sure he would have loved. But judging by how much backbending it was to get Miller and Momoa, who were not on set, I'm guessing there were scheduling conflicts. Well done. That prevented getting him or Gal Gadot. And as for Batman and Cyborg not being there at all, that very much seems like a WB call rather than something Gunn himself requested. Not that someone like Ray Fisher would have wanted to return, after what he's been through. Yeah, poor baby. And Ben Affleck has seemed pretty clear that he's probably done with Batman at this point, even though we're going to see him in the Flash movie. Snyder fans do have some real grievances that I can agree with. What happened with Justice League and Joss Whedon was unforgivable. It was. But here's the thing. They released the Snyder Cut. So once you release the Snyder Cut, that should be the end of the story. But not for these people. Because there's always more to moan and bitch about, isn't there? Not just in it made the movie worse perspective, but how the actors were treated on set. But this here, making James Gunn the new DC villain in Whedon's stead, no, I can't buy that, neither can I. And the comparison just doesn't make sense. Every decision in the DC universe is not a purposeful slight to Zack Snyder or his versions of characters. After 5 years, it has to stop being taken that way with every new offering that's released. Listen, it's a great journalist there, a great article, really enjoyed reading that to you. But he's absolutely spot on. But they're not going to stop these takes. This is what they want. They believe by doing this, they are enacting pressure on the studio. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But what has changed since they've been doing this? Absolutely nothing. I'm certain that David Zaslav and Discovery will restore the Snyderverse. I believe Zaslav has already spoken to Ray Fisher. I suspect that has happened, and there will be a formal apology from Warner Discovery about how he was treated. I believe these things will happen. This will enact the miracle of bringing Ray Fisher's Cyborg back, and of course maybe even Fisher being able to force them into sacking Walter Hamada. This would be a very controversial move, but who knows? For me, it's not about individuals. It's not about Hamada or Sarnoff. They can stay, they could go. I don't give a shit. As long as DC live action is at its very best, it's awesome, epic, entertaining, and it does these legacy characters justice. It's not about individuals for me. But ultimately, these propaganda merchants will keep on going. And as I say, even when the Snyderverse is restored, which I'll be very happy about, they're still going to keep on throwing these takes. Look at Justice League 2, so much better than the Hamadaverse. That's all they're ever going to do. So I don't know what Zaslav's going to do here. But I do believe he'll restore the Snyderverse. I do believe that there will be a formal apology to the people who were involved in the Justice League reshoots. And that will change everything. Whether or not that changes the big thing that brings Snyder in front and centre, I don't believe that. But I believe he will be given a corner in the DCEU. So these propaganda merchants just have to be ignored or made fun of. You can do whatever you want. You know what I do on my social media, at Movies TV Mad on Twitter. You know I make fun of them because I think the whole situation is hilarious. I'm a supporter of DC. It's looking good right now. We have a great year. It's a time of celebration, not commiseration. I just wanted to show you a picture of this Henry Cavill double. I mean, James Gunn went out and got the real lookalikes, and even the Ben Affleck one looks amazing. But this guy could actually play Superman. He actually looks like a great Superman. No offence to Henry Cavill, who I can't wait to see back as Superman. We will see Henry Cavill back as Superman at some point along the line. So I'm very excited. But this is great. He looks great. Now, I've heard some news on Twitter, by the way, and I don't know if you saw the retweet. I think it was deleted because I think it was from an expelled account. But on Instagram, David Coep, who has been working with Steven Spielberg on the DC film Black Hulk, was asked, you know, what's going on with this movie. Steven Spielberg was supposed to be doing this DC movie on this comic Black Hulk set on a fighter pilot from the Second World War. Very exciting news a few years back. We haven't really heard anything. A few months ago we were told this is still happening. So David Coep, who's been working with Spielberg and has been working with Spielberg for a long time, said, listen, as far as I'm concerned, this script is tight. It's ready to go. The delay is from DC and WB trying to work out what they're going to do with their DC live action property. But we're not going to give up fighting on this project. That's very exciting. And as I said to WB, as I tagged them on Twitter yesterday, Steven Spielberg should not have to fight to get a DC movie. You should be fighting to get him. I think this movie's still going to happen, and I think under Zaslav, this movie will definitely happen. So get excited, because I certainly am. Just a few more DCEU updates before we finish up on Sunday's packed DCEU Daily. So these are some of the things going on social media. Peacemaker creator James Gunn to focus on DC television after Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So it's actually funny because Freaking Robot, or whatever they're called, those propaganda merchants, they've got a site, and they were saying that Bane will be the next villain in Peacemaker 2. James Gunn exposed them for what they are, a bunch of lies. That was funny. But this is actually interesting that James Gunn will focus on DC TV after Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I told you that publicly Gunn will say great things about Disney and Marvel. He's good friends still with Kevin Feige. He's not the problem. Feige fought for him to come back to the MCU. But he's not happy with Disney, because you don't fire someone after 8-year-old tweets. Tweets that were humorous. They were, look, for me, the jokes were, they were disgusting. I like James. I like him as a person. I like him as a creative. But he knows I don't agree with this. So there's no issue there. But he should never have been fired because of this. And Walter Hamada swooped in and, supported him and said, you know what? I believe in you. I don't care about those tweets. You're a genius, James. Come and work with us. James Gunn appreciates this. So he's, as I've said to you for ages, since he came and started working with DC and WB, I said, James really appreciates this. He's done with the MCU after Guardians. He will never work with them again. He's a DC man after this, and this is very exciting news. We're getting Peacemaker Season 2 and another The Suicide Squad spin-off. What that is, I have no idea, but I'm very excited. Right. Scott Eastwood says his character gets more love in the Suicide Squad Air cut. So again, this is great because I thought Scott was done dirty on that cut as well. I don't know much about Scott Eastwood. He's clearly related to Clint Eastwood. Bit of nepotism there, but yeah, I'd certainly like to see a bit more of him. Not that he was playing a big character in the movie, even in the Air cut. I want to see the Air cut. Catwoman isn't an actual cat, and Zoe Kravitz, who plays her in the Batman, says she was told not to be too cat-like in her take on Selena Kyle in the upcoming film. Right. In some iterations, we've seen that she's a bit more cat-like. I think Michelle Pfeiffer's one is a bit more cat-like. But no, breaking news. It's not breaking news to any nerd or geek out there. Catwoman isn't a cat. James Gunn will both write and direct every episode of Peacemaker Season 2. Gunn wrote all 8 Season 1 episodes, but only directed 5 himself. So what's going to happen here is, with his DC TV, this is something he will be moulding the clay of, totally writing and directing all episodes. His other spin-off will be mainly run by someone else, but he'll probably come in and supervise that project. Very exciting times. Matt Reeves has discussed the potential of the Batman spin-off show at HBO Max, featuring Zoe Kravitz Catwoman. That's exciting, but also Colin Farrell has confirmed that here's the Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot. HBO Max, the Batman spin-off, is in development. The writing's being done, and he said this project has a lot of potential. So that's really, really great news. A fan edit of the Peacemaker finale adds Batman and Cyborg to the Justice League cameo after they weren't included in the original lineup. Listen, I'll reiterate my opinion on this. I just don't care. I don't care that Cyborg and Batman weren't there. Batman's going to be seen multiple times in live action this year. We're not missing out. It doesn't matter. Batman could have been somewhere else. Washing his tights doesn't matter. The Cyborg situation, look, Cyborg's a great character, but he's kind of an irrelevance to me anyway. They'll do something with him. I like him. I would like the Doom Patrol guy to be involved in the DCEU, and I think the multiverse strategy could make this a reality. Robert Pattinson admits that he was terrified to watch the final cut of The Batman, saying, "I was absolutely terrified. I haven't been this scared to release a movie in such a long time." It's absolutely understandable that, they would be, you know, they would all be nervous. I mean, Matt Reeves was very nervous about this. You know, Zoe Kravitz, and Robert is a huge Batman stan. This is a huge moment to him. You can see how much in love he is with this character every time he speaks. He reminds me of Andrew Garfield, and it's great to have talented people, but also who are good people, who have pure love for these comic book characters. Finally today, we're going to talk about Superman and Lois. Let's have a look at this. Superman and Lois set photos give John Kent the classic 90s Superboy costume. Now, this is interesting. Why has he got a Superboy costume when he hasn't got powers? Set photos from the Arrowverse series Superman and Lois revealed John Kent sporting a leather jacket and red gloves, similar to Superboy's 90s outfit. So, let's say this again. Set photos for the Arrowverse series Superman and Lois revealed John Kent sporting a leather jacket and red gloves similar to Superboy's 90s outfit. So he's not wearing the complete costume. Photos of Superman and Lois set reveal that John Kent will be getting his own comics accurate costume, albeit one that originally belonged to a different character. The images taken by Candelgrass show Clark and Lois' son wearing a new outfit seemingly inspired by Superboy's appearance in the 90s. Actor Jordan Alas was spotted in a black shirt bearing the House of L crest. Wow! Under a leather jacket, while also sporting bright red pants, gloves, the studded belt and heavy combat boots, draw further parallels to Connor Kent's first appearance in the Adventures of Superman 500. Could there be a greater conspiracy here? Could one of the boys, could Jonathan Kent actually be Connor Kent? Now, this would be interesting, wouldn't it? Now, I don't see that how this could be a thing unless he was experimenting on Lois Lane and they don't know about it. I think this show is willing to go this direction, and just reading this now made me have this theory. Comment down below and let me know what you think of that. I do read all your comments. Sometimes I reply, sometimes I don't, but I read them all and I try and like and love as many as I can. And like the previous season, John also has much shorter hair. Eagle-eyed fans will also notice that the symbol sitting on his chest is seemingly dripping. Some speculate that these drops are meant to represent blood, but this has yet to be confirmed. Could Doomsday end up killing one of the boys? So these are the pictures, right? Sorry about the pop-up, try and get rid of it. Right, yeah, this is interesting. So look at the top one. Yeah, wow, this is mad, right? This is absolute madness. What's going on here? And then we go to here. This is mad. This is actually awesome, isn't it? Doesn't he look good? This is interesting. What are they playing at? The costume change raises many questions about the show's upcoming season. In Superman and Lois, John Kent doesn't have any powers, leading some fans to speculate that the character may soon discover his unique abilities. The use of Superboy's iconic 90s design is also an interesting decision, as the outfit seen in the photos is associated with Connor Kent, who is yet to make an appearance in the show. Could Connor Kent be John's double? Could we see Connor Kent played by Jordan Alas, but it's not actually Jonathan Kent? That's something else they could do here. Very exciting. I'm very pleased with what they've done with Superman and Lois. A great show. In the currently established canon on Superman and Lois, Jordan has already adopted the mantle of Superboy after a heated accusatory argument with his brother John. It's worth noting that the images don't necessarily account for context, given that multiverse hopping is an established principle in the Arrowverse. It's possible that the leather-clad John Kent hails from an entirely different universe. Yeah, that's what I think. It could be Connor Kent now. It could be anyone. Wow, so really, really great article there and great revelations. I think he's a multiversal hopping character. Could be a version of Connor Kent. I can't wait to find out what's going on there. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And I'll see you again maybe tomorrow. I might have to skip tomorrow. I don't know what's going on. I may have to skip Tuesday as well. I don't know if I'm able to do videos on those 2 days. I'll try and do one on Wednesday, but Thursday morning I'm travelling back to Cyprus. So I would say from Friday of this weekend coming up, not this one, but the one coming up, I'll be able to do one pre-recorded video a day and one live video again, because I'll be back home and I'll be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want. So until the next video, I will see you again soon. Until then, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.